Welcome back to the End Stop Podcast, episode number 24. As always, it's me, Josh, joined by Chris. This week, first time back. We've had an off season off. We'll take a look. Really brief. It's the pre-season. We try and rush through these 3 weeks and get as many mock fantasy drafts in as we possibly can. Then draft and then look back at what could have been 2 weeks into the start of the season. Just some real quick fire news, Chris. Tim Tebow's been cut.
Oh no!
Yeah, what a shame. They said some pretty nice things about him when he left. It was a failed experiment. I don't know if he was there to help Trevor Lawrence cope with the idea of being a rookie quarterback in the NFL that's, in the national spotlight. But yeah. At least no one should be drafting him in fantasy leagues. You never know. Just don't be that person.
What if you drafted him already?
Well, then good luck finishing last in your league. Unless that was a joke pick, which I hope to God it was with the last pick in the last round. Sticking on the tight end theme though. Travis Kelce, something a bit different about him, Chris, now, isn't there?
So if you guys haven't seen, I'm sure everyone has by this point, he's shaved off his man beard. So he I don't know, it just doesn't look right. What do you think?
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, the concern is, it's whether the facial hair is going to have any impact on his NFL performance.
The powers come from the beard.
Exactly.
I don't know, that happens with Ryan Fitzpatrick, doesn't it? So
yeah,
I think Kelce will be fine.
Yeah, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's comes more from his chest hair. But, there's a lot of hair contributing all over the place for him. Bring some of the Fitz magic. But, yeah, if you're Travis Kelce, I don't know how much beard you really need to help you along the way. The other one, is the classic. Drew Lock's turn 80-yard bombs in preseason, and we're all waiting for him to be a disappointment yet again. Jalen Reagor, joint practice with the Patriots, making incredible one-handed snags over the top of a DB who no one's ever heard of. This is preseason. Does that affect anything? Of course not. Let's wait and see. I'd love to see Drew Lock throw one of those in a regular season game.
I don't think anyone, certainly that we play with, is targeting Drew Lock. Certainly in a 1 QB league. Jalen Reagor, probably not on anyone's high interest, maybe a late dart throw, but you've got Davante Smith there, you've got Dallas Goedert, maybe Zach Ertz if he's not moved on or retired or injured or rubbish. And Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is obviously the QB, had some flashes towards the end of the season when he got in. But yeah, I don't think Jalen Reagor, first round draft pick last year, in the actual draft, not fantasy drafts. I don't think he's on anyone's radar that we play with, at least.
No, we're in a relatively small 10-team league. No one should be stooping for Drew Locks of the world. A late round flyer on a Jalen Reagor, that's par for the course. You may as well take a shot on a first round talent.
Even our resident Broncos fan is not going anywhere near Drew Lock, so I think that tells you everything.
Yeah. Also, he's been saying we haven't had our draft yet. We'll keep you updated next week. Maybe things are different then, with a surprise Drew Lock QB1 locked in. But Chris, talking about quarterbacks, and once you actually have a chance to change around some systems, Mac Jones, Patriots. We were pretty big on the guy. We thought a lot of things about him, mostly me. I'll happily admit that. When in the season do you think he's going to start? That Patriots offense, it's just built for a rookie quarterback, isn't it? Either they think Cam Newton is entirely incompetent as a passer, or they've built that offense for a rookie quarterback. I mean, they've gone back to 2 tight ends. They've got as many pass-catching running backs as they could lay their hands on. They've got an offensive line and an offensive scheme that's built around short, quick dump-off passes. That doesn't seem like Cam Newton's game, does it?
Well, another year older for Cam. He was actually quite good at the start of the year. I think he was top 7, top 8 QB after 5-6 games. He still had some rushing ability, and he was essentially their goal line back, really. But then he caught coronavirus and was ill for a long time and never really recovered. And you kind of looking, is this the Cam that we're going to get this next season, or are they going to go for the exciting rookie out of Alabama, Mac Jones? Now, I had a look at the season schedule, reminding myself of that. Their bye week is week 14, which is right towards the end of the season. So traditionally, when we see a rookie come in, as we did with Tua and Fitzpatrick in Miami last season, it's at the bye week where the squad has got 2 whole weeks to play around and get used to new formations, new snap counts, new timings, etc., new play calls. So that's traditionally when you'd see that happen. But I think game week 14 is probably a little bit too late. Obviously, the Patriots are going to welcome back a lot of defensive pieces. A lot of them opted out for the season just gone. So for me, I expect Cam Newton to be the starter. Do I expect him to be the starter at the end of the season? No. But when they do it, I don't know.
Yeah. See, I'm in a different boat, to be honest. I genuinely think there's a real chance he starts the season. Maybe they give Cam the start and they let him go until he loses, and maybe week 2 we'll already be asking the question. But I actually have the Patriots as my biggest surprise package of the season, but that's contingent upon them rolling with Mac Jones sooner rather than later. Genuinely, that's what I think. It pains me to say, not a huge fan of Belichick or the Pats, but yeah, watch that space. We'll have to keep an eye on it. If he continues the way he started this preseason, then he'll be making as good of a case for himself as he ever possibly could have. But anyway, enough about the real NFL. Let's talk about fantasy. The bit which matters, Chris. Just a couple quick fire questions. Undisputed, beard or no beard, Travis Kelce is tight end number 1. Yeah, but then next up, you got Darren Waller, you got George Kittle. Of the 2 of them, who's your tight end number 3? Tight end number 2, I guess.
I thought the question was going to be beard or no beard.
Yeah.
Good question. We have seen this a lot. I really want to say Darren Waller. But Kittle is very good. I have Kittle just.
Yeah, it's Kittle for me too. I'm in the exact same boat. My heart desperately wants to pick Darren Waller because he's such an amazing athlete. Not that Kittle isn't, of course he is, but there's just something about Kittle, that grind. There's just something.
He fights. He's similar to Kelce in a way that he fights for extra yardage. I think the big difference between the 2 is that Waller had the touchdowns. And obviously, Kittle was injured last year, but Waller's had his own injury problems when he was first in the league. So I don't really think that should play into it. But I think Kittle is just something special. All of his points come from yardage rather than touchdowns. So if that was to increase, 1, 2, 3 touchdowns over the 17-week season, then I don't think it's as close as we're thinking.
Yeah. See, my niggle, and completely honestly, with Darren Waller, is he really struggled for motivation when he came into the league. Came in as a wide receiver, had so much potential. Everyone thought such great things of him. He had substance abuse problems. He's openly admitted that, and he really never got in the right headspace. He was a man on the mission when he joined the Raiders. He realized it was his last chance, and desperately wanted to prove everyone who he could be, and fair play to the guy. I mean, how many people turned their careers around like he did? But does he have that same drive entering this season? I don't doubt that he does, but there's that little question mark for me of, has he already achieved or accomplished what he wanted to accomplish? Hopefully not. I don't want to wish anyone ill. Love the guy, great footballer, amazing human being for what he's done for himself, for his life. Look forward to it again. But yeah, Kittle for me too. Stick with the tight ends. Let's go to the ones that, if you're not getting in the top three, probably everyone's looking at. Yeah, you've got Mark Andrews in there, but the real ones: T.J. Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts. That's the big one. I mean, is Kyle Pitts genuinely going to be significantly the best tight end as a rookie that we've ever seen in fantasy? I mean, I heard he has to be like, I think it was something like 125%, 25% more on top of what the number one tight end as a rookie accomplished in fantasy production. He has to be that plus another quarter of that in order to equal where people are taking him right now.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing in fantasy drafts. It's the price you're paying. I can't. I'll tell you now, it's not someone that I'm targeting in round 4, round 5, potentially round 6. I'm not sure what his ADP is off the top of my head, but for me, it's either one of the top 3. I love getting Kelce where I can do, as anyone does, but it's one of the top 3, or I'm probably just going to wait. Hawkinson looking to take a step forward in Dan Campbell's kneecap biting offense with Jared Goff. I'm not sold on that. So if I was to choose, I would probably choose Pitts just on excitement value.
Yeah, it's such a tough call. I'd probably go for TJ Hawkinson myself. It pains me for much of the same reasons as the Waller-Kittle debate, because I love Kyle Pitts. Absolutely love the guy. He was insane at Florida. Atlanta, Julio's gone. That's a great chance.
Targets.
Yeah, and like you said, who's TJ Hawkinson's quarterback? Jared Goff. Tight ends go up in value with bad quarterbacks, but somehow Jared Goff makes them worse.
To be fair, having said that, the Rams did use Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett quite well last year. Obviously, they both ate into each other's production value, but Hawkinson could be in line for a good relationship, a good rapport with Jared Goff. So who knows? But it's probably one of the top 3 or someone else lower down for me.
Yeah. Well, let's go back up the draft. Let's talk about wide receiver 1 potential here. Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill? Who would you rather have?
Davante Adams.
Yeah?
He's so good.
Yeah. He doesn't have anyone else competing for any touches, really.
No, and Aaron Rodgers wants to go out and absolutely just show Green Bay what he can do. I mean, they know what he can do, but he wants to show the world what he can do. And they have such a good relationship. And, is it the last dance for them? Probably. So, yeah, Davante Adams. And don't get me wrong, Tyreek Hill can win you a game in a quarter, as we saw with his, 2-3 touchdowns, 200+ yards in a quarter this season just gone. And he's electrifying. And obviously, Pat Mahomes, arguably the best quarterback in the league. So a good one, but for me, Davante Adams.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers just wants to make Green Bay look stupid, doesn't he? That's his only goal this season. Yeah. So I'm on the Tyreek Hill side. To be honest, genuinely, I am. Okay, Davante Adams, incredible talent, incredible. Don't let me take away from him. But how long is the league gonna let Aaron Rodgers get away with one receiver? How long does that happen? Till they start to bring the triple team into the NFL to play against the Packers. Who else have you got? Randall Cobb. I mean, he's on crutches, isn't he? He's got Zimmer frame out on the field. I mean, if that's who Aaron Rodgers is calling for on that team, what does that say about the rest of the wide receiver room?
But we know that that's been an issue for numerous drafts. And if our Green Bay fan was here, I'm sure he would share his frustrations with multiple missed opportunities to give Aaron Rodgers what he wanted and what he needed. It was a reliable second option. But you say that, Josh, but Davante Adams, year in, year out, does it against single man, double man. He has gone up and got the odd Hail Mary in triple man coverage. So he's just so good.
Yeah. Oh, incredible talent. There's no way he gets past second round. I mean, if he lives past the first round, that would be crazy in most drafts. Oh, yeah. So yeah. Incredible talent. Just an interesting question there. Let's look at the first 4 probable picks of the draft. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook. A lot of injury concerns there, Chris. I'm sure it pains you deeply to remember, but for your money, your pick number 1, who's your guy?
CMC.
Yeah, still?
Yeah. Like you said, they've all had their own injury concerns, and anyone can get injured at any day. I think looking at them, the one that's probably had the most injuries is Dalvin Cook. In terms of recent time, obviously it's been CMC last year, and then Kamara in there as well. But I don't think you draft a player, certainly at that opportunity. You're not saying, I'm not going to draft CMC because he might get injured. Because he is a receiver. He literally is a wide receiver and a running back in one player. The amount of fantasy points he scores is unreal. When he played last year, he scored 20 plus fantasy points in all the games that he played. Even the ones where he left injured, he scored 20 points, I think. He's just so good. So McCaffrey, hands down.
Yeah, it's such a difficult call for me. I mean, honestly, I mean, of course, if I'm there, I'd probably take CMC too. But CMC, Alvin Kamara, they exist in awful offenses now. Okay, yeah, you got Sean Payton in New Orleans, but who's their quarterback? Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. Oh, Michael Thomas isn't going to be there to start the season. Oh, it just doesn't look good. Dalvin Cook, someone could breathe on him funny and he'd snap his leg again.
Oh, no.
Derrick Henry seems like the safe bet. He's in a high octane offense, and he is a tank. That man seems to prove time wrong. But yeah, I think the trends which we seem to be seeing in fantasy football right now is people are more and more scared of running backs. More and more. It's so tough to look at the guys in the first round. Saquon's in there. Oh, I don't know if I could take him. Zeke's in there. It's like, come on. Nothing seems like a surefire bet. You've got Travis Kelce. You've got Davante Adams. You've got Tyreek Hill. Why are we going for these guys anymore? I'm so curious.
I think last year there was a large number of injuries that affected a lot of the first round picks. So I think a lot of people were burned by different people. So I don't think you can name 1 or 2 out of the first round. I think there's a lot of injuries in the league anyway. I think last year there was just an abnormally large number. I don't know how many, but it felt like there was certainly on my team at least. There's somebody getting injured at least one person getting injured every week. What's your top out of those 4 or alternatives? What's your top 4 running backs?
Oh, it's those 4. It absolutely is
in that order.
4. I would probably say it's tough. It would probably be CMC, and then I have a toss-up between whether I think injury gods are gonna look kindly on me or not, between Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry. Alvin Kamara is number 4. I that's solid for me. In 2 and 3s between Henry and Cook.
Yeah, for me, Cook second, and then Derrick Henry third. I am a massive fan of both. I just think depending on what league you play in, Dalvin Cook adds more in the passing game. But we did see Derrick Henry start to take some sort of short passes. So that might go up this year. But for me, it's CMC, then Cook, then Henry, and Alvin Kamara fourth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see how that one goes. Hopefully, we're not reading off a list at the end of the year and any of those names crop up as injured. Otherwise, goodbye to whoever drafted them fantasy season. Let's talk about one real life NFL question. The Raiders obviously got Josh Jacobs, great talent at running back, a bit one-dimensional really as your first, second down back, not the ideal pass catcher. They've always had Jalen Richard. They picked up Kenyan Drake in free agency. And I know you're a big fan of Kenyan Drake's, aren't you, Chris? But for your money, by the end of the season, who do you think's the lead back in Las Vegas?
I think it's Josh Jacobs. I think they see him as the 1-2 down, and then Kenyan Drake to come in on the odd play and be the pass catcher. Now it's really strange because I know you're a big Josh Jacobs fan and have been since he entered the league, and he's always been hailed as a really good pass catcher, and then the Raiders just don't use him in pass catching, which is infuriating for a lot of people. I've never had a share of Josh Jacobs as far as I can remember, and that's been okay. For me, big fan of Kenyan Drake. He did really well where he has been before. Last season was disappointing. He just in Arizona, he just couldn't get over the goal line, and obviously Kyler Murray was there to run it in if it wasn't him. So it's an interesting move to join the Raiders, but I think they're just going to detract from each other. For me, I'm not targeting either of them. Just don't. I think you're a little bit different on that, but for me, neither of them interest me.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a scarce talent running back now. It feels like it's so easy to write people off a list, and Josh Jacobs and Kenyan Drake feels like that too for me. Everything the Raiders are saying is they want to do a double-headed monster. Of course, 1A is Josh Jacobs and 1B is Kenyan Drake, but is it 1A and 1B? Is it 1 and 2? That remains to be seen. Thing is, Kenyan Drake was brought into this league to be the second running back. He was at Alabama, the second running back. That guy was designed to be a second running back. He's the mind over metal type of player. It always came down to that. Had horrible injuries in his history in college, and always came back incredibly well. But yeah, don't forget he was there with Jay Ajayi at Miami at first. Jay Ajayi fell off a cliff in terms of production.
Not literally.
Yeah, not literally. To my knowledge. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a tough one. And, all it seems to do is just ruin both of their value more than anything else. Well, I left the best one till last, Chris. You're the Steelers fan. Finally, we got something about one of our two teams. Deontay Johnson, JuJu, or Chase Claypool? Which of those is the lead wide receiver?
It is Deontay Johnson. It is Deontay Johnson. In the offseason, we nearly let JuJu go. Obviously, he was talking to a number of other teams, including the Ravens, apparently. Not sure how that would have gone down. But all things coming out of camp and out of the team are that he's a really well-liked guy in the locker room. And he's a really big part of what the culture is there, for everything that I see anyway. So I'm quite pleased that he stayed. It was only 1 year, it's only $7 million or something like that. So it's not a vast amount, It's only a 1-year deal, so we might be looking at the same situation next year. But I'm pleased he's stuck around, expecting a big improvement on sort of the excitement that we saw from Chase Claypool last year. Was really, really impressive. I think a lot of people were quite low on him in the draft. So to see us take him with one of our early picks was a bit of a surprise. I didn't know too much about him. Mapletron, as people start calling him. I think he's got a new clothing line like that, I think. But yeah, that was really, really good to see him break out, really exciting. And if Big Ben is healthy, he can support 3 receivers. We've seen that before. But it's Deontay Johnson. He had some issues with drops. But hopefully the timing, the relationship with Roethlisberger is better in this season. So yeah, for me, it's Deontay Johnson as the 1. And then I suppose it's probably 1A, 1B, 1C, to be honest. But Deontay Johnson is the 1 for me.
Yeah. If you were going to say who you think has the best value, where they're going in drafts right now?
I would like Deontay Johnson to be a little bit lower, so I think it's probably Claypool.
Yeah, I mean, JuJu's widely not being drafted, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could turn out to be a really good pickup. You know, I don't know, it's something I've thought about, but I think in terms of where they are currently and my expectations, it's probably Claypool, because I think Johnson is probably a round or 2 higher than where I would have liked him to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last question, Chris. A really simple one, just something to finish us on. But are there any players that you would absolutely never draft, either again or just ever? Just chuck that one out there.
Good question. Let me have a think. Is there anybody for you?
Yeah, I was just thinking this is going to come back to me. Yeah, it's a really tough one. For me, I'm struggling with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I had a tricky season with him last year. I've been talked into it by a lot of good things I've been reading at the moment. So maybe he's not in the complete untouchable zone. But yeah, he's pretty close to there. Saquon, another one. I've been burned by him with injuries. It's tough to follow the guys who just get injured and stick with it.
I think for me, I mean, the player that I regret taking last year was Lev Bell. And that was probably a foolish pick for me. It was the 5th or 6th round. And there was a certain rookie running back who went the next pick. It was Jonathan Taylor. So looking back, that was an awful pick. But I thought, he's going to be the lead back. He's going to get volume. He's going to get touches, albeit the Jets, albeit Adam Gase. He's going to get touches. And he got touches and was just awful. The whole offense was awful. I don't know why I did it. Then he moved, obviously, that Bell moved to Kansas City with Andy Reid. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll get a chance to play him. No, I didn't. So I think Lev Bell is something that I'm probably not alone here. He used to be running back 1, running back 2 a few years ago, and I think now he's more focused on his rap career.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well,
which is if you've not heard it, he is not good.
Well, yeah. Fortunately, you don't have to worry about that one because if you drafted him, then yeah, that would say more about your fantasy season than anything else.
I made the playoffs on that one, though.
Yeah, you somehow got through, scraped it in. But yeah, thanks, Chris. If you liked the episode, of course, please give us a like and subscribe. I look forward to speaking to you next time.